Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm recipe testing a recipe for eggless carrot cake muffins or cupcakes. And I'm working off a couple of different recipes to try and come up with something that I think will work without using eggs, but still have good flavor and be tasty and moist. I am doubling this recipe, but I am going to give you the measurements for one batch. So to start out, I am grating some carrots. And I started out with the rough grate on this box grater and then went to a finer grate. I am going to need 1 cup of grated carrots, which is about 1.5 large carrots, or medium size to large. And I'm just setting those aside until I get everything else mixed together, and I'll put those in last. So I am adding 1 cup of sugar to a large bowl, and also 1.5 cups plus 2 tablespoons of flour to that bowl. Next, I am adding in 1 teaspoon of baking soda and then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Then 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. If you like a more pronounced cinnamon flavor, you might want to add a little bit more. I did shake a little more cinnamon over the top of the batter before I baked it and stirred it in, but I thought that the flavor was good on this. So I am mixing everything together in one bowl and just using a spoon, not a mixer for this. This is a recipe taken from a depression cake, or what sometimes is called a wacky cake. I originally thought it was called a depression cake because you made 3 depressions into it to put some of the ingredients in that I'm doing right now. I'm making 3 depressions, but I think that it was a popular recipe during the Great Depression in the United States, so I don't know where the name came from now. My kids told me that they thought it was called that because you make it when you're sad. And you can make this recipe or put all of the ingredients into the pan that you're going to bake it in, but I prefer to mix it up into a bowl, and I am making cupcakes out of this batter. I'm putting 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in one of the depressions, and then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract into another one of the depressions. 5 tablespoons of vegetable oil goes into the largest depression. And if you look up measurements on the internet, it will tell you that 5 tablespoons of liquid will equal 1/3 cup. But I usually will just measure out 5 tablespoons. The oil gets poured into the largest depression of the dry ingredients. Next, I am adding in 1/2 cup of water, and then 1 cup of my grated carrots, and then mixing everything well. This looks like there's not enough liquid to have this mixture all come together, but keep on stirring and something magically happens to the carrots and they impart moisture and it turns out just perfect. I'm using cupcake liners in a regular sized muffin pan. And so I'm just putting those in now. And using my cookie scoop, I am going to put 1.5 to 2 scoops of batter into each muffin liner. I want to fill these cupcake liners about 2/3 of the way full. And this recipe will give me about 12 to 13 cupcakes. These go into a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for 20 minutes. If you live in a country that uses the metric system, that would be 176 degrees Celsius. So while those are baking, I am going to get my butter and cream cheese out and into a bowl so that they can soften to room temperature. I'm measuring out a 1/4 cup of butter, which I believe is also 59 milliliters. I am opening an 8-ounce package of cream cheese, which is 226 grams. The cupcakes are done after 20 minutes of baking, and a toothpick inserted in the middle comes out clean. Be sure to remove these from the muffin tins as soon as you can, even while they're hot. The batter, if you've spilled any batter, it will stick to the pan and it will make it really hard to remove once they cool. I just put mine out on a cooling rack to cool. This is a recipe that is so much better the next day or two. The carrots really soften up the cake a lot. And so if you can do that, that would really make a better product to make them the day before you need them. Now to my cream cheese and butter, I am adding 2 teaspoons or 10 milliliters of vanilla flavoring. I'm adding 2 cups or 240 grams of powdered sugar or icing sugar to the bowl. Once I get the sugar incorporated on a low speed, then I turn the mixer onto a high speed and whip it for a couple of minutes until it's nice and creamy and I don't have any lumps of cream cheese that I can see in it anymore. This recipe of frosted 24 24 to 26 cupcakes. So if you're only making 12 cupcakes, you might want to cut this frosting recipe in half. But it would be really good on other things: zucchini cake, banana bread, pumpkin cookies. It would go good on a lot of things. It's a really good cream cheese frosting recipe. I am going to store these into an airtight container, and I'm taking some to an event tonight, but I am freezing half of them to use in a couple of weeks. And so these would be great for Easter. They would be great for Easter brunch or Easter dinner, dessert for Easter dinner. They would be great for birthday celebrations. You could add nuts and raisins to this recipe if you'd like, or you can add chopped nuts to the frosting recipe if you'd like. We prefer our cakes and frostings without nuts, but you can do whatever you'd like. So here you have eggless carrot cake cupcakes. And like I said before, they are much better the day after you make them. So take that into account. It's a very moist but very dense cake. If you added a little bit more water than I did, it might make it a little lighter. I don't know. Like I said, I was recipe testing, and I don't want to make another batch because we don't need more cupcakes in the house right now. But here it is. I'm going to break it in half so you can see what it looks like inside and how spongy it is. It's really a good recipe, and I got a few compliments on it from the event that I took them to. Thank you so much for joining me, and I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. It's free. You just need to click the button and like and make a comment if you'd like to. Have a great day. Goodbye.